Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is Allie with the Sea Owl, and I'm so grateful to be spending this precious time with you. If you found yourself here, likely there's a message for you, and I'm really grateful that Spirit has allowed me the ability to be able to channel the messages that you need to hear for you here. So I was already given the topic of this, and that is the week ahead in conjunction with this new moon in Gemini. And I keep wanting to say Taurus. I know we just came out of Taurus season, but there's something significant about Taurus season, something you are traversing, part of your journey, something that you spent the last 4 weeks really thinking about, that's used up a lot of bandwidth, a lot of your energy. And I feel like whatever that thing is for you, there is some shift happening in Gemini season, almost kind of a culmination point and like a push off kind of energy with this new moon that we're experiencing right now. I'm recording it right on the brink of the new moon. So when this gets posted, it will be the new moon for you. So let's go ahead and get started. I've already prayed and meditated over this space, cleansed the energy, and I'm really excited to see what comes through for you. So thank you, Spirit team. What messages do you want to bring forward for this collective? For all those who have found this reading and this message, what is it that you want to bring through for them? What do you want them to know? Please and thank you. Well, we're going to go ahead and look at these that just kind of flipped out here. So we have first house arrival. We have sixth house sustainability. Uranus with change. Oh, wow. And Pallas Athena with think. Now, what's really interesting is this Athena energy, this warrior energy, has come through in 2 of the 3 personal readings that I had that I gave this weekend. So this is definitely a theme in our collective, of feeling like you have to have the armor on. You have to be clever and forward thinking and ahead of whatever curveballs may be sent your way. And while I don't necessarily feel like that's a bad energy to have in your toolbox, is what I want to say, I feel like you're moving into a season with Uranus and change here. First house arrival, sixth house sustainability. I feel like this message is very clear in that you are in that turning point, that pivot point of a brand new season of life that is very aligned and here to stay. But first, there had to be a very intense upheaval. Shifting gears actually seems like an understatement as I say that. There had to be this tower moment, this upheaval of feeling like you had to have, I've got to keep fighting. Here's a brand new battle that I have to take on. But I think that was old patterns and old thought forms from how life has been for you for a very long time. I don't think that's actually the case. And so the energy that I'm getting here for you, and look, this person on the sixth house sustainability is very zen, very calm. They're in a meditative space. All their chakras are aligned. Number 44 is really standing out to me, so that might be a significant number for you. But everything is very balanced, very calm and chill. And it's interesting that it's next to other cards that have a much more potent energy to them. Now they keep telling me, look at the bottom, and what do we have? Taurus with cultivate. And now that Taurian energy, that Taurus season energy that was coming through, just validates that there was some significant changes that you were experiencing, and maybe multiple multiple aspects of your life that kind of reached a fever pitch during Taurus season that are now shifting, and this new moon feels like a launching pad for that. Okay, so I feel like with the think here with Athena, because a lot of this, you know, Athena had her owl, there's a lot of wisdom, intellectual, thinking energy with Pallas Athena. And I feel like it's asking for you to look at the situation at hand in a different way. If it were your friend describing what was going on in their life to you and you had an outside perspective, it wasn't so personal, would you maybe have that foresight of saying, of feeling, of thinking, you must have some really intense change on the way for you. All of these things are kind of getting torn down. So something truly sustainable, a brand new beginning, can emerge. It can't emerge. You can't build a new house on top of a dilapidated, crumbling one. You know, it has to be, the land has to be cleared, everything has to be taken away, so you have a blank slate. And I feel like that's the energy that you've been in. Okay, I was going to get more of these cards and they said no more of that for now. So let's go ahead and get some tarot. I have to say, in the last reading, I used one of my favorite decks and I realized it has a lot of imagery that I can't use, unfortunately, with YouTube rules, unless I go through and maybe edit some of the pictures, and I don't want to mark on my deck. So we will use our Old Faithful here. Okay, bear with me. I was going to use the Light Seers Tarot, which I love, but they kind of stopped me in my tracks and said, no, and I'm making a big mess of this too, but that's okay. We're using the Mystic Mondays Tarot. And if you're interested, this was one of my first two decks that my husband gifted me. The Mystic Mondays and then a regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So can we get some more information, please, Spirit? Some more information on this new moon in Gemini and the week ahead. I feel like they're asking for you to take a deep breath, to try, and you've done so much work on yourself, to try to treat this moment in time, I'm hearing, as a launching pad. That energy keeps coming up, but also to treat this moment in time and give yourself encouragement and advice in the way that you would a dear friend going through what you're going through. You would probably tell them to take a deep breath. You would probably say, you know, let's look at this from a higher perspective. These things that are going on are likely the catalyst for something new that's about to begin. First house arrival. And we have Six of Cups. For some of you, there's something really significant here with, first of all, the antlers, but also this world symbol on the center of the card. So antlers, deer, and the like, to me, are very indicative of being between worlds, of having a higher connection to source, to the in-between, to all there is. And yes, having a very divine connection to all there is. And I think some of you, I mean, this might be very specific, but it's coming through, so I'm going to say it. Some of you may have some kind of connection on the world stage. It could be traveling, movement, being seen in some capacity. And what I'm getting here, I'm being honest, what I'm getting here is some of you feel really tired with the intense change that you've been experiencing, and for me to sit here and tell you to go within and see things from a higher perspective might feel a bit triggering and frustrating, and like I've done that already. You know, I need change to happen now. Meaningful, positive change. I need that to happen now. Oh, look at that with the Empress. And then the Chariot. Well, I have good news for you. The change is imminent. The change is imminent. And the Empress is such a beautiful card because it speaks of not only abundance in all of its forms, but also being in that receptive energy, being willing to receive. And you might say, Allie, I've been ready to receive for the last 5 years. And I hear you. But there's a difference in feeling like, okay, I'm ready for this to come in now, and to actually be in receptive, willing to receive mode. There truly is a difference in that energy, that frequency, where it's not, man, this seems so much easier said than done, truly. But where you're not living in, I need this to happen now, or I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, a kind of frantic, frazzled, exhausted energy. And being in that receptive mode of, I don't chase, I attract. And this feels, it just feels like a difficult message to deliver, if I'm being honest, because we also live in this reality where we have bills to pay, or mouths to feed, or responsibilities, and to keep a roof over our head, or to make a car payment. And these are all very real things. I don't feel like it's asking for you to forsake that real desire to have that stability, because we do have sustainability here. But I do think it's asking for you to shift your perspective. Please don't shoot the messenger. You're going to have to be in the right energy to receive this message. So I'm going to stop tiptoeing around it, because it is the message. It is what's coming through. And if you're not in the right place to hear it, I understand, because it's not an easy message to deliver. But there is a balance that needs to be had here of shifting perspectives, of seeing things from a higher vantage point, stepping outside of your desire for things to shift, to be easier, and seeing that these things are likely happening to bring you what you desire, but you kind of have to go through the flames to get here. And I don't think it would have happened any other way. I don't think this could have happened any other way than the way it's currently transpiring for you. So there's a desire and a calling and encouragement to take that very important time to go within, to continue releasing old behaviors, thought patterns, thought forms, and ways of being. And there's some people who, gosh, I feel like Spirit is like being kind of tough love here. I really do. But I'm going to deliver it anyway. There are some people that have some coping mechanisms, some vices, some things that you may have convinced yourself that you need for one reason or another. And really in your heart of hearts, you know that you're either over-consuming them, overdoing it, overindulging, or they need to be relinquished and surrendered altogether. And this is not an easy feat. It is not easy to do, especially if the world feels so tense and chaotic, and these are ways that we use to cope. But it's asking you to rise above. That seems to be the ultimate message here, that you are on the brink of intense change and transformation into what you desire, which is stability, something sustainable, true abundance in multiple forms. And there are some past connections, and now this doesn't just mean a person, although it definitely could mean a connection as a person, but connections you have to things that no longer serve you, that they're asking for you in this period of time to release. Now, it's interesting this is coming through in a new moon, because generally full moons, we talk about releasing things, but I think in the context, okay, it makes some kind of sense here. It kind of makes sense now. In the context of what we're discussing, this newness that is coming in is on the way to you, and you're ready to plant some new seeds. And essentially by fully releasing whatever this is that's nudging and nagging at you to be released, plants that seed of momentum and newness and tells the universe, okay, you've surrendered this, you're ready for more. You've made room, you've made space now. And you've done a lot of work on yourself. You've done a lot of work on yourself. This is not saying you haven't done enough. It's just saying it's time now. There's this Golden Girls scene where Sophia is all freaked out about death, because she thought she had a dream of her husband who is deceased coming to her and saying, Sophia, it's time now. We have room for you now, thinking it was time for her to die and go to heaven where Sal, her husband, was. And, you know, the whole episode is her freaking out about this. And at the end, we find out it was one of her bowling friends knocking on her window when she had a nap, saying there was room for her on the bowling team and she should go to the bowling game that night. I don't really know why I felt compelled to say this, but that's kind of what's coming through now. Is it's time now. We have room for you now. Can you make space for this? Because I don't think when you get to this, you're even going to need whatever this was. I think it's holding you back. I think it's slowing you down. I think it's taking up real estate that could be used better, getting yourself fully in alignment, body, mind, and spirit. And there is something that is anchoring you to an old timeline. And I feel like the lack of releasing it is also causing some disruption, whether you realize it or not. Maybe it's excess finances that you're spending on whatever this is that you really don't have, that would make life feel a little bit easier if those resources weren't going to sustain this coping behavior. Maybe it's a connection with someone that has not been healthy for a really long time, and it really drags you down every time you communicate with this person. But you think, well, I don't really have anyone else to communicate with, so would I just be alone? Would I just have no one to talk to? Would I just be single? I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different ways this could play out, but hopefully these examples help it make more sense for you. At the bottom, we have 5 of Cups reversed. So moving out of this energy of despair, and they're guiding me to say it's never easy to start a new healthy habit, and it's never easy to end an old, outdated one that doesn't serve us anymore. But I think you have the gumption and the courage and wherewithal to make this change if you've been feeling that nudge enough. This is the season, the moment, because it all feels very like there's wheels turning. There are things happening. Whether or not you can see it or not, there is movement in the background, in the fabric of reality. And it's movement you have been manifesting and asking for. And now they're asking for you to kind of release and purge and work through these old, quite frankly, toxic to a degree, connections to things or people that have been weighing you down for a while. So, if you're still here with me after that tough love session from Spirit, God love ya, because it's never easy to deliver that message, no more than it is to hear it. And I've been on the receiving end of hearing it many a time. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we have. I'm going to get a card here from the Angel and Auras deck, and then I also feel guided to the Animal Oracle deck as well. Thank you, Spirit. What other messages do you have? And there's something here about maybe shifting what you consume as far as food. Can you start incorporating more fruits and vegetables, more raw ingredients into your diet? Thank you, Spirit. I love this. We have Uriel with the color red. And it's really interesting. It came out in the reversed. Okay, so it's kind of the same message here, repeating. The reversal of these cards have its own specific message. So it says apathetic, wounded, unfulfilled, and divided. And then we have divine or perfect timing with in reverse with unfortunate, struggle, disorder, resistance. So I truly feel like this is just expounding upon and doubling down on that message of it probably feels really overwhelming to even attempt to disconnect from things that no longer serve you at this time because things feel like a struggle. And so there's resistance there. I feel like you feel divided about doing this because you're tired. You feel apathetic, just like these words say. You've been wounded in the past thinking that things were going to pan out a certain way and they didn't. And why should I give up something that brings me some peace and relief? But Spirit is really doubling down on saying, I don't think it gives you the kind of peace and relief that you think it does. If anything, I think it's maybe harming your body. An example they're giving me now is somebody who like smokes cigarettes, and how it may give you relief in the moment, but you're definitely paying for it with the damage it can do to your arteries, especially your lungs, your throat, and your pocketbook, because cigarettes are not cheap anymore. That was a vice that I gave up 6 or 7 years ago now. Almost 7 years ago now, and it was one of the hardest things that I ever did. And I just happened to glance in the store the other day. They had a big wall. When I smoked, it was like, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I loved cigarettes. And let me tell you what, if it weren't unhealthy, I would probably still be smoking them. Like, it's just one of those things that's true. It is one of the hardest things to give up. But there was this wall behind the cashier, a glass wall of different cigarettes, and I smoked American Spirits for a long time, and they were $10 a pack. And I was dumbfounded. But then again, when I was buying them, I think they were like $6 a pack, which was crazy to me then. So like you are expending, financial resources that could be funneled in other places that didn't make life feel so heavy and struggle and unfortunate. So that's just an example. They really are doubling down on that. So I appreciate that, Spirit, that confirmation. Let's see. We have spiritual adventure and evolution. This is what we're talking about. Travel, education, experience, and inspiration. Now it's interesting. We have the number 39 here 2 times, and that feels quite significant, actually. 39 reduces to a 12, so you could be seeing 12 quite a bit. Or I'm hearing even 1221, like a mirroring number. And then with evolution, with the number 23, we have empowerment, transformations, protected preparedness. And then at the bottom, we have time to go. Like, I can't make this up. You are evolving. You're in the midst of it, just like the swirl around this woman here. You are guided and protected wherever you go, and you are about to arrive in a brand new chapter that is going to be a journey and an adventure. Just like with the world, the globe that we see here in the background of the first house card. A brand new beginning of movement, travel, new experiences, new people, places, and things, a new you. And these old things just don't have room to go with you where you're going. You know, there's a passport right here. There's luggage. There, it says confirmation here is one of the words. Confirmation. It is time to release these things because you are on the brink. Some brand new chapter is about to be given to you. That is a heart's desire, a soul's desire, and Spirit is just doing everything they can. They're kind of putting out I'm getting like red and blue lights, like a cop car, like getting pulled over, not to threaten you or to make you feel badly, but to say it's time now. The time is now. Your spiritual bags are packed for this new journey. You're evolving. You've got to do this now. Tick tock. It's the perfect time. Man, I hope this resonates for you and isn't too harsh. I really sincerely hope that this isn't, I'm not delivering this in a way where where the message can't be heard, but it does feel kind of as striking as it's probably coming across from me. Let's get a final message for you here. Yeah, I'm reading the words dead end at the bottom of this time to go card if it were to have been reversed. Those things are a dead end. They don't serve you the way that you think that they do anymore. All right. Final message here for this beautiful collective. Final message for the beautiful people, individuals who are still tuned in. I'm also seeing the number 4 on this door here with the wreath on it. And so there's a lot of 4 energy of foundations and sustainable stability and empowerment. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. Wow, we have mouse with 10 to the small things. And would you look at this? We have dear Spirit again with bring a gentle touch. So I feel like this feels very rounded out now, because ultimately this is not about beating yourself up into submission. It's about seeing things from a higher perspective. And then we have cat spirit, claim your independence with number 13, and vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. And this is a turkey vulture on this card. I have a lot of connections with turkey vultures because of where I live, and they're a protected species here where I live, and there's a lot of them. And then at the bottom, yes, again, I saw this on the split earlier, we have dove with be peace. So this is to round out this message for you. This is not to bully yourself, to blame yourself, to kick yourself when you're feeling down. This is to uplift you, that all of this, that the changes that you're being asked to make, to claim your independence, to let go of anything that's holding you back, anything that's holding you back, or anyone. That these small things, because there's really not a whole lot left to do except to really release the toxicities of things that maybe once helped you but don't serve you anymore, and to do it in a gentle way, to remind yourself through this process that you're doing this because you love yourself and Spirit so loves you. They would not ask you to do something unless it was for your highest good. Thank you for that reminder, Spirit. Spirit would never ask you to do anything unless it were for your highest good. And we can still experience a lot of resistance when we're going through it, when everything feels mundane and disappointing and like a series of unfortunate events. But I feel called to say that those are the moments when we should really try to double down and say, life might be hard, but I'm going to keep choosing myself and fighting for myself to be the best version of myself that I can be, because then universe and spirit and life has no choice but to match that frequency and energy that you are emitting. So it's as much of a call to action as it is to give you a hug and say, you can do this. You can do hard things when the ultimate payoff is your highest happiness and greatest joys in this lifetime. But it starts with you. Okay, I feel like that is the message. Again, God love you if you made it through this whole thing. This was a hard one to deliver, but I feel like it was really beautiful and very potent and needed. So please take excellent care of yourself. No time has been wasted. Nothing has been wasted. Be gentle with yourself as you move through these new changes that you'll be experiencing. And know that you are arriving to a brand new chapter very, very soon. I just had my train honk in confirmation. Thank you, Spirit. You are arriving very, very soon. It's just a matter of time. And Spirit is so proud of you. And I am too. All right, please take excellent care of yourself. Thank you for being here with me. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, you can find that at my website at theseaowl.com. And more than anything, please take excellent care of yourself. And I'll see you soon.